Well, how about that? I push the button and Ross pops in the hangout. Imagine that.
Made it. I made it just in time.
Uh,
Right?
I was literally I pushed the button and it was loading up right as you jumped in, so that was kind of funny.
Let's get it on.
But anyway, hey, what's up, guys? This is Damnation, and of course, I'm here with Ross and Dan as always. Say hi, fellas.
Hello, guys.
Hello, hello.
Ross is fresh in off the boat.
That's correct.
That makes you sound like an immigrant.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to talk about some battle pirates because that's what we're all here for. So let me get some screen sharing going, hit some slides, and we'll be off. All right, so the first thing, bug fixes. They did a fix for the Scorpion Shell Aura initial uptime not being affected by the Darkwing CIC. I know I heard a lot of complaints about that for a little while now, so that's fixed and that's good.
Yeah, did they fix it during it or after?
I think it was after.
Yeah, because I didn't notice it during it fixed.
Yeah. This week we also got hardware acceleration. It's a new option to use your graphics processor to load and render graphics and improve performance. Reduces lag in situations by reducing strain on your processor, and it can be enabled within your settings by default. It's turned on. Have either one of you guys turned this on yet?
I have indeed.
And what do you think?
I think for me, I've had it's positives and negatives for me that actually. So I mean, it's some things are very sharp, very easy for these old eyes that I have to see, very well defined, but possibly maybe too much. So in terms of auras and circles and a lot of things highlighted type thing. But it seems to me that graphics are missing. When I turned it on, my portals disappear in combat. My rocket went off the launch pad. It's very, very strange, just a couple things. I noticed it.
What about your actual performance though? As opposed like graphic stuff aside, what about performance?
No, it did not. I would not say that. I don't think it's enhanced my performance.
Really? That's interesting.
No.
Well, Dan will ask you, and then we'll get back to me.
Yeah, the graphics came out really well. I liked the graphics, but as far as I mean, I could do a lot of things that look good. Went into did the base parts and 1 of 3s, and all the turrets are up in them when doing those. But I found doing the performance part, I couldn't hit bases with it on. I had a hard time hitting bases with it on.
Definitely.
I know
that was a big thing, but everything else was really nice. I liked it. I liked the graphics. I liked how everything else. I liked moving on the map. I mean, I liked rolling for crews with it and all that, but the performance hitting bases and regular bases with people online and all that wasn't as good. So I shut it off and went back.
I can't speak to hitting player bases, but I know in every other aspect of the game since I've turned this on, I've seen a huge performance, especially in my frames per second. My lag has really diminished since I turned this on, and I can go out and when I hit map targets and stuff, I hardly experience any lag whatsoever. So believe it or not, I'm actually really happy with the hardware accelerator thing.
Oh yeah, map targets are great.
There's some weird graphic stuff going on. Like I know for a while, and some of the map targets, there was you would go in and it would just have the framework of the target you were hitting, but you couldn't see any of the shit that was supposed to be in there. I know there's been some problems with not being able to see projectiles. I know Headache Wilbur in chat is saying you can't watch playback, but I've had no problems watching playbacks with the hardware accelerator turned on. I mean, I guess for those of you who are experiencing issues with it, did you check and make sure that you met all the minimum requirements to have it turned on?
I sure did.
Yeah, and there are some people that I have. They do meet the requirements, and they are having strange issues also. Of playback is one that I've heard. I got a player that's land tiles. When he flipped it on and flipped it off, all his land disappeared, and he got hit. And right then, and they drove right through, and it was the strangest thing. And it wasn't just a visual, because the attacking ships drove right through. It was pretty strange, but
it is strange.
Yeah, no kidding.
It was very strange.
Out of curiosity, what browser do you use to play?
I use Chrome, and I'm really not having any issues. But I'm not a laggy player. I don't play with a lot of lag in the first place. So yeah, it's harder for me to hit a base with it on because certain things aren't showing correct is all. I'm taking a little bit longer to enter the battle and to exit, more or less, actually. I'm exiting a lot. It's not, and I'm not talking about huge amounts, but I'm talking about enough to be noticed. I know that I get caught quite more instead of flipping it off.
Interesting. Dan, do you also play on Chrome?
Yes, I do.
Gotcha.
I never have really much. I don't have the lag issues that a lot of people have either. But it's just, it's getting into the bases take a little bit longer, and getting out takes a little bit longer than what it normally would for me. So that's why I turned mine off.
So, I mean, I guess overall what we're saying is it's a good thing. It could just definitely use a little bit more tweaking.
Yes.
You're right. Yes. If it needs a little tweaking, and it'd be great.
Oh, and I just want to give everybody a heads up tonight too. There's going to be a lot of reading on the show tonight, and I apologize for that, but it's information that we were hit with on the forums this week that we're going to go over, and to go over it, I'm going to have to read it. So I apologize ahead of time. So let's go ahead and talk about what the king himself, Lil Harbin, had posted for him, because he couldn't apparently be bothered to take 5 minutes out of his busy day to post it himself. So, May 2nd marked the 7-year anniversary of Battle Pirates, even though some people like to say they've been playing for 9 years. So,
nope. It's 7 years for me this month.
It's a game he's incredibly proud of over the years. We've seen exciting factions, incredible player tributes, and tons of emergent gameplay. But if there is one thing I've learned in my tenure, it's this: complacency is death. Unfortunately, Battle Pirates has become a bag of complacency. A lack of diligence has allowed balance-breaking bugs to escape and go unnoticed for months. A lack of community engagement has caused us to lose touch with the speed that players can realistically progress. A lack of planning has forced the team to wildly overtune stats, targets, and events in order to shoehorn value into new content. All because of complacency. Well, complacency isn't going to cut it, and it's time for us to right this ship. So what are we doing to fix this? First, I've got a new leadership team in place. Our issues don't stem from the talented individuals working long, difficult hours to execute the nuts and bolts of the game. It's about how we're deploying those resources. Heading up that leadership team is our new GM, Michael Rubinelli. A State of the Game post will go up in the next few weeks, which will discuss the long-term look for Battle Pirates. Additionally, our new lead designer, Wrong Thinker, will be putting up a post on Wednesday introducing himself, as well as the second part of our correction strategy, which I will now spoil. Battle Pirates has adopted a philosophy that dictates everything we do. It's a simple players first. Content and features will continue to ship because that's how the game is supported. But with every new feature, we will always ask, how does this enhance the player experience? Does this make a player's life better, easier, more fun? If the only answer as to why we're putting something in the game is money, I don't want it in the game. Finally, we're tripling down on our community engagement efforts. Expect to see more developer presence, more AMAs, more live streams, more unadulterated proof that the Battle Pirates team is exactly as invested in the game, continuing success and longevity of this game as you are. The fact that we're in this position is no one's fault but our own. The time of complacency is over. You've shown us that you're here for the long haul, and it's time for us to show you that we're here for it too. Long live Battle Pirates. Will Harbin, CEO. So, let's just go down the line. Dan, what do you have to say about that?
Well, I mean, I like what he said, but it's like I'm taking it with a grain of salt. I got to see what happens first. I haven't been on the forum. I didn't go on the forum to read what Thinker said, but
don't worry. We're going to cover that a little bit here too. But Ross, what do you got, man?
Well, yeah.
Oh, real quick. Hi, Double Dog in chat. I see you there. What's up, man? All right, go ahead.
I just I don't. These aren't new people at Kixeye. In fact, no one's been hired new. These are all existing people that have been around since the problem's been started. So this is just what I've heard before. I'm still here, however. So whatever, you still have a little bit of magic that's keeping me here. But this is the same to me. It's nothing new. It's nothing amazing. I've heard this exact stuff before. It's okay. I'm happy that they're coming forward and actually stating that we acknowledge that we have this issue. I mean, that's I guess where, I mean, I try not to be negative about everything. So that's I'm glad that they're acknowledging it, I guess.
I don't try to be negative. I try to be realistic, though. And I'm not sure, like, how is this any different than way back when, Price and Nash and those guys said they were going to quit the game, and Kix admitted they'd done all this stuff to screw the game up, and they were going to fix it, and they were going to do this, and they were going to do that. How is this really any different from that?
No, it's not.
I don't think it's much difference at all.
I mean, now I will say he does seem to have outlined a plan of attack much, much better than they did last time. Because last time they didn't really come out with a line of attack of how they were going to fix things. So he does actually have a plan in place this time, it seems like.
Yes, it does look like a plan is in place, and I think Will Harbin himself said, you guys have to start doing this or my game is going to be gone.
Do you think Will Harbin even really pays any attention to what's going on anymore?
I do believe he does. He does.
I don't think he does.
I know he does.
I think he has other bigger projects that he's more worried about. And I think somebody finally brought this to his attention. And he's like, oh, here, let me shoot you a memo. Because Will Harbin didn't even post this himself. He couldn't take 5 minutes to make a post about this game he's worried about saving. He had fucking Rampage post it for him. So that in itself, to me, says a lot right there.
Well, in a way, Will Harbin's not going to go on and post something and have a troll.
Hang on. If I owned this game and I ran this game and I was cared about whether this game was going to have a future or not, you better believe my ass would have been on there personally talking about this shit. Don't you think?
No, I totally. I mean, in a way,
yeah.
But I'm a different type of player. If I was the CEO, I'd have my king hat on, and I'd have a base that would have every goodie in the world. But it'd be fun. I might be checking in on the game. But
I mean, it's like if you're about to lose your house, Ross, would you send your neighbor over to take care of things for you? I mean, that's a great analogy, I think.
Yeah, that made me laugh. That was good. But no, you're right. Yeah, I guess no. I think he's acknowledging the fact that it's messed up.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, and that's the biggest plus I see of this is they've come out and said, not since the graphics debacle have I seen Will Harbin came out and be like, yeah, we fucked up. And I'm sure there's lots of people who watch, and I know you guys have been playing long enough. You remember the graphics debacle.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
And that was like one of the first times that I saw Will Harbin ever be like, yeah, we screwed up bad. And within what was it, like just a couple days, most of the stuff was reverted.
Right. Well, what I'd like to see is Will Harbin have another one of his, way back when Will Harbin posted his first video in his office.
Uh-huh.
He needs to do another one saying this.
Actually, I'd like to see a video of Will Harbin playing the fucking game. That's what I'd like to see. But I digress.
Okay. Yeah, he plays more. I know what he plays.
So that's what Willie Boy had to say. And then we had a post by Wrong Thinker. I just grabbed this random picture because that made me think wrong thinking right there. But anyway, I have to say, I'm not feeling a whole bunch of confidence in a guy whose name is Wrong Thinker right off the get go. It's like I would prefer my game developer to be named Right Thinker, but whatever, that's fine. I'm just giving him a hard time about the name. I'm not going to read all of this because it'd be very boring and we'd be here forever. But I am going to go through and try to pick some highlights. From those of you guys who didn't know, he's not new to Cape Si, but this is his first time on Battle Pirates. He was lead designer for War Commander before, and now he's moved from War Commander over here to Battle Pirates. Let's see, and he goes on to say, just like Will Harbin said, they dropped the ball lately. Some of the newest stuff hasn't lived up to the quality we deserve. I haven't honestly seen any quality in any of the new stuff, but let's see. And he talks about how they screwed up the Mana Core, blah, 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 blah. And then my favorite, our PvP has devolved into a convoluted crap show, which was swung back and forth between overpowered offense and overpowered defense without ever finding the sweet spot. And clearly, we're not doing a good job listening to your thoughts and feedback. Well, yeah, we've been telling you that for a while.
Well, yeah. Well, he's going ahead and stating the facts.
I like this, but it gets worse. Not only we screwed up newer content experiences, we failed to address long-standing issues as well. Client performance was below expectation. The UI and game flow can make doing simple tasks needlessly difficult. Lag is ever present for many players. Hulls lose their value a few short months after earning them. You're hitting the same grindy targets endlessly. I'm pretty sure I'm preaching to the choir here, but I want you to know that we are acknowledging these problems and intend to do something about them. And then he goes back to talking a little bit about players first and how it's not just a buzz phase, but something that they really believe in. And he says about how it doesn't mean they're going to start giving everything away and making stuff stupid easy, and that they're going to start doing every single thing the community asks for. But what it does mean is that they are going to really be listening, considering our position when they make decisions, and thinking about how those decisions impact us both in the short and the long term. And it means they're going to communicate with us more openly. Let's see. What else does he say? There's just a bunch of corporate speak there. He says, it's us admitting that you, the community, not us, are the beating heart of this game. Letting you down is not an option for us. They're starting with the anti-lag and performance initiative to help players smooth their experiencing. And that started with the release of the hardware accelerator thing. While lag will never be completely resolved and performance will never be perfect, we've dedicated multiple engineers to tackling the issues and expect to have more meaningful improvements in the next few months or so. That sounds like very long term there. The next few months or so.
Well, that's them working on the HTML part of it.
No, I don't think that's what he's referring to, though. I think he's referring more about hardware stuff as opposed to programming stuff.
Right, but I mean, it's part of the programming part. It's HTML. Switching over to HTML will take some time. That way, they can improve things a little bit more.
They're also looking to improve ability to manage their fleet, deploy, repair, etc. right from the world map. They're looking at improving chat in the game, making in-game communication more useful. I don't really see a problem with chat in the game. Do you guys see a problem with chat in the game?
No.
No.
Matter of fact, that's the scary part for me. I mean, because that's the part. I like the chat. I like the friends in the game. That's what keeps me here. Boy, if that, I can just see that going out now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if working on chat is on your to-do list, like, please put that at the very bottom. I mean, there are so much bigger things that are going on in the game. Chat shouldn't have even been on your radar anywhere.
Well, they got this world chat button there that they haven't fixed yet. So,
oh Lord, no.
Yeah, honestly, I don't want them to fix it. If I'm in alpha, I don't want to hear Ewok in fucking beta bitching about shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, honestly, yeah, for sure. That's one that's can go back to the thing in the Will's Harbin statement on the things that don't have any point in the game. We're just going to remove and not fun. That can go. That can go.
Yeah, they can just remove that from their
thought,
from their coding anyhow, and get it out of there. That way, it's not in their thought process.
Right.
And then he goes on to talk about what kind of things you most enjoy about Battle Pirates, and they're going to say, basically, he's saying that they're going to make sure they try to get something in there for everybody. So, of course, all these changes won't happen instantly, but improvements will continue to pour in over the coming weeks and months, and we'll continue to share our thoughts and plans with you along the way. In the near future, he'll be posting more about the upcoming skirmish cycle. But don't worry, you'll get some juicy details discussing how we're going to sort out PvP, talking about more ambitious plans for the future of the game, and more. In my view, we're actually in an extremely exciting position right now. With one great opportunity, Battle Pirates, with great opportunity. Now, you think if I was going to read, I'd be doing a much better fucking job of it, right? Battle Pirates is an amazing game that has all the potential in the world, and we're going to push it until it lives up to that potential. The game has a lot of problems right now, it's true, but we know about them, and we're going to clear them up. Right now, I'm aware there's a chance of this post coming across as more words, but I'm confident you'll have seen enough of the changes soon that you'll be believers in Battle Pirates again.
Yes, and that's what I'm hoping for. I want to see a bunch of seeing a bunch of these changes to make us believers.
I mean, he's touched on everything that community's been telling him for the past I don't know how many years. He's put forth somewhat of a game plan on some of the things and how he decides to tackle them, and he said all the things that everybody wants to hear. And here's where the ice water of my reality comes in is I remember when GD Aerostex came on the team, and he said all this great things, and we were going to have this wonderful pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and we ended up with the biggest steaming pile of shit that this game had seen in 7 years. So I'm anxious to see. I hope he does everything he says they're going to do. But I am going to be watching actions more to see what the conviction behind these words is, as opposed to actual words themselves.
Well, the one thing about all this between him and Harbin saying all this stuff, the community is going to hold him to it right now. They've said what they're going to do and what the problems are, and they know about it, and the community's going to hold them to being players first and fixing and getting the shit fixed that hasn't been changed in years that we've been wanting and needing. And
yeah. So does this mean that the support totally changes? Is that how this? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know how much customer support is going to change.
Players first. Players first is not the support we have.
Although, look at it this way: if all the changes happen and all these fixes happen, we won't have as much need for customer support.
Yeah, that's true. True. Yes,
that would be correct. That is correct.
So I don't know. It's definitely going to be. I like where he says we're actually in an exciting position right now. Well, I do agree with that part of it, because I think right now you're in a sink or swim situation.
Yeah,
you know, I think right now we're on the cusp of shit's either going to get good or there's not going to be a game anymore. Because over the past couple months we've had some pretty big name players leave the game, and I'm not talking just big PvPers or whatever, because we've had some of them leave too, but I'm talking about people who for years and years and years have been helping the community understand the game better and have been a voice for the game, and they finally this year, within the past 2 or 3 months, just said, you know what, I can't do it anymore, I'm done.
Yeah, I say, well, yeah, Price is gone, and he's got a new Corvette.
Well, yeah, no, I meant the community. Yeah, the community is dwindling, and I myself am tired of getting hit by the same people for the last year, 2 years. I wish the game could be addressed so it it could be changed.
Yeah, I get hit by the same people. Never anybody real different. The same people over and over again.
It's because there's only so many people in the game, and they're we all move up the same level, and there's not new players coming in. Give me a break.
I mean, I did have a new player that applied to my alliance that just started and everything, but it's like I can't rightfully say that anybody's going to stay right now with the way the game is.
I mean, the only way anybody's really accomplishing anything at the top end of PvP right now is the people who have the deep pockets.
Welcome, George.
Oh God, you gave this guy the link.
I was just trying to lurk, man. What the hell? Call me out like that?
How's it going, George?
I'm hunting rabbits.
Quiet F-bomb guy.
I know.
So you got here. So we were just in the process. We just got done going through and reading Will's letter, and we highlighted wrong thinkers things, and we've been kind of putting out what we thought about it. So I've more or less said, and I'm sure you've seen me posted on the forums of what I said about the words sound great, they're all nice and pretty, but I'm more interested to see the conviction behind the words.
I think that's how everybody feels right now. Like, everyone is so cynical because the last 2 years that they can say whatever they want. It's going to be actions speak louder than words. I think everyone's there right now.
That's correct.
I mean, they've had enough. How many times have they come out and promised this, promised that, and it would be good for a year or two, or not a year, like a month or two, or a week or two, and then all of a sudden it's back to the same old same. And you can go all the way back to when they went on to the BV show, and they were give us 3 months, right? Hold our feet to the fire, and how'd that work out?
Oh, you held their feet to the fire, and they got pissed off. That's how that worked out.
Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just like I said.
We did comment though on the last time we saw Billy Boy make any kind of thing about a statement like this was back when they did the graphics change, and and then that was the only other time I remember seeing him say, "Yeah, we fucked up," and that got sorted rather quickly. However, his post would have had a lot more weight in my mind, like I said before you got on here, if he would have actually made it himself, taking 5 minutes out of his schedule to make that post, as opposed to having Rampage just post up a memo.
I mean, I think the last time he literally, I think, started out the whole thing as, yeah, we fucked up. And this one is a little bit more tame, but generally, if I recall correctly, like, he doesn't do this unless he is pissed off. So, you know, I don't know. Part of me is like, yeah, that's awesome, and something's going to get done. And he's going to make people take a look at it. And the only question I have is if it doesn't get better in the next couple of months, because it is a company and it takes a while for them to get things moving, are we going to see another team change in a couple of months if he's that pissed off? And then, you know, we have zero continuity. The people that are coming in have zero contextual reference and historical reference to the game. They don't play the fucking game. So I'm kind of like, in my mind, we're still in limbo, even though they're saying all this stuff, which is why I go back to, you know, actions speak louder than words. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm kind of with you. It's like, I'm sure they have all the programming skills in the world and all the resource management skills in the world, but if you've never played the game that you're trying to program and resource manage, you can be the best person in the world and you're not going to get anywhere because you have no context.
Yep. Like, I mean,
right.
I think that go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, all these guys that just came on, the new GM and that, need to start a new base themselves on the actual game and see where they can go from starting off at level 1 with nothing.
Well, I mean, that might be good if they were in a good spot in the game. I mean, at this point, I'd be much more happy if they started and they went, hey, let's copy this player's base. You're going to start with all the stuff that he has, and hey, see what happens. Because, you know, part of not having any sort of contextual or historical reference is they keep on doing this Voltron shit. And it worked like shit last month. It's last year. It's going to work like shit this year. I mean, it just doesn't work with the way that we play the game, and that's the problem. On paper, it looks phenomenal. It's a really cool sounding and idea, and it has like a lot of possibilities for depth and all that stuff until you put it into actual practice, and it falls right on its face. So
right.
I mean,
we're still all talking about we want some new players in the game, but if a new player comes in at level 1 and with the ships they get now at level 1, how are you going to progress, really?
Well, okay, let's be frank about this. I don't even care about new players right now. I want to retain the players that we have, and then we can worry about new players.
And, you know, and that's the thing, though, is that why would you concentrate on new players? Because, look, new players will eventually, they're not advertising it. So the only new players that are going to come in are going to be word of mouth players. And if you don't have your shit straight right now, you're going to keep losing players, and they're not going to even want to recommend people to come in. So if you're going to concentrate on anything right now, you should be concentrating on players from like level 75, 80 and up, and what their daily chore tasks are, what the FM looks like for them, what PvP and PvE looks like for them, what the raids look like for them. I mean, 3.5 hours of fucking damage for an asset. That's for an end game player. It's ludicrous. Imagine level 80s.
Well, I agree totally with everything you said. I do agree.
Although apparently there's some people out there that think the community will be fine with 3.5 hours worth of damage per second. Just saying.
Yep. Oh, but, I mean, there's I know I had someone to kind of go a little bit off on me about why do I always auto this and do that. I'm like, look, man, the autoing thing, I don't actually do that my entire game. I mean, that would be just asinine. Like, why the fuck would I keep on playing, right? But the catch is when you hit that, if you can do something on auto.
Can I answer that question?
Go ahead.
I auto shit all the time because I don't want to quit, and I have hopes that one day the game will get better, but I can't be fucking asked to play it right now the way it is. So there's your question for why you would auto shit all the time.
There's part of that. I mean, the premise the premise of why I do the auto fleets or like I build the things to auto or be able to auto is because it offers a really good baseline on the tuning of that target. So not only do I have a baseline on what it will do on auto, right? Because eventually these things go to the map and I have to do the chores. And sometimes, you know what? I don't have time to fucking spend 3-4 hours on chores a night. But ultimately it's to see my baseline, because if I'm seeing something, a particular mechanic in a target, it's going to become very evident in an auto hit because you are leaving yourself open to fucking everything. And then I can tune for when I drive the sons of bitches, because that's what's going to end up happening. You know, I'm not going to, I mean, why would I bother if all I'm going to do is auto? I mean, yeah, I have a blast designing shit, but that's, you know, that's not the game. I mean, to me, it's a really interesting part of the game, but what I'm seeing lately, especially this raid set, and it really worries me for when they go to the map, is that these things are not, like the auto hulls are getting kind of booted a little bit. And it started with that 103 on the map, right? Yeah. Buccaneer is the top tier auto hull. I want it to do its fucking job. And if it's the top tier hull, it better be doing the top tier fucking target. And it's not. It is essentially blocked out of that target so Hydras can have it, which is dumb. That is the dumbest ass thing I've ever seen. So I said, fuck it, let's auto that thing with a Hydra. And guess what? 30 minutes of damage on that. And what was it, like what did I say the other day, Mike? 3-4 hours of damage on the Bucks on auto. I mean, it was just, it was ridiculous.
I was going to say, I know for me, it ended up being like 4.5 or something. And
yeah, I mean, that's not acceptable.
Well, and you got to look at it this way too. Like with the 98, and after I say this, I want to get back to the actual slides, and then we can circle back at the end of the show to go off for a little while. But like if I'm going out and I'm doing the 98 map target, and I'm only taking, say, like 30, 45 minutes damage there. If I'm doing the next up target that gives me twice as many parts, I should only be taking twice as much damage. I shouldn't be taking 8 times the damage. That makes no fucking sense. But yeah, let's go on and get to the slides, because we haven't even hit the FM yet. We're already 37 minutes in, so and then we'll circle back here in a little while.
I mean, most of the stuff people have read, right? So you can kind of actually tell them what you think.
We would like to think so, but that doesn't necessarily mean they have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Mike, I mean, people want to hear what you said, what you're thinking, what you guys are thinking of this stuff too. I mean, because I look, honestly, everyone knows the 120, 121's out, and they've done a lot of stuff. I want to know what you think about them. Have you hit them?
I have not. I just did my FM the same way I always did, because my Greta's not anywhere close to being done.
Well, like I said, I've hit the 120s with 5 regular dragons, and I like them really.
How'd you do with just the 5? It was just 5 regular dragons. You didn't have a flag or anything.
Nope.
How'd it do?
I mean, I took like an hour and a half of damage on auto. That's
not bad.
No, I mean, I really, I mean, I take a lot more damage in the 117 on auto than I do the 120.
I'm gonna have to try that.
I think they got it. They got the 120 set the way they should be. That's where the 117 should have been set like that, but they refused to do that.
Well, see, I'm a little bit not scared. Shit, what's the word?
I heard the 121s were a little bit harder, but I haven't tried a 121.
Like the 117s with the flag, right? With the Savage, I auto for about like an hour and 15 minutes, right?
Huh.
But what I'm afraid of is that they're going to turn around and go, "Hey, we introduced these like the 117s, so they're a little bit easier right now, and they're going to get harder." And I'm probably going to flip my shit, because I've already built to what I've seen in here. Like Mike, have you got? Yeah, Mike, you said you had yours in the shipyard, right? Do you already have the build going, or are you just doing?
Oh yeah, mine already has the build going. Pretty much.
You already got
everything's on it except for the armor at this point.
Okay, so you've already planned out and everything. So then, if they change the damn target in like another 2 months, you're gonna be fucked again, right?
Oh yeah.
But I mean, as much as I hate to say it, though, I'm at the point where I'm used to getting fucked. It's just like will you please put a fucking a tube of Easy Glide in every update patch that you put out. You know, because it seems like everything they do all the time anymore is just like, oh, you got to refit. Oh, you got to refit. Oh, you got to refit. You know, and hopefully that is one of the main things that, for me anyway, that will get addressed with all this player first crap that they're coming up with.
Look, player first crap is crap, because what it should say is, fun first, because that would put the player first. But yeah, that's semantics.
Well, players first should have been the motto for the past 7 years of this game. Not all of a sudden, and halfway through year 7, oh, we need to do players first. Where the hell was that last 7 years?
Yep. I mean, so far I've pulled off the 121 with just 2 hulls, right? And that would be awesome, because I can just cycle through a dragon, because that's the one that takes the most damage, not the flag. And I'll just cycle through the dragons, because I can slowly refit them, so that way I'm not really pressured to refit. And I can keep on doing my FM. And eventually, if I have like 2 or 3 dragons refit, I'm going to be able to do my entire FM in one go, which would be phenomenal. But I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, oh shit. Like, I mean, yeah, on the one hand, there's going to be damage to repair, because I'm kind of just cycling things through. And so I will have like a night that I have to blow repair for that. But on the other side is I'm getting done in one go. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Either the targets are going to get harder, or we're going to see a shit ton of points needed every fucking week, which I don't want a weekly raid.
Well, I mean, quite honestly, let's be honest about it. We're looking at a shit ton of points almost every week now, because they put all that limited shit in there. So I can no longer go through and be like, okay, week 1, I'm going to blow out all the prizes. That way for the next 2 or 3 weeks, I can just go in, get my chest, and be done. No, I got to claim this limited crap before I can get my chest. So you've added like effectively another, probably between there's 2 tiers or 3 tiers that you have to claim limiteds in. But I mean, you effectively added like an extra 1 million points to my FM every week. Yeah. Just like, why? I mean, why?
And this is not players first. I'm just going to say this is not player centric in any way, shape, or form. So if anyone from Kickside is listening, like, yeah, this is not it. You're not hitting what you guys have just put 2 posts out about. And I understand you're a big company and all, but shit, you can keep from putting stuff in the FM right now. No one's forcing you to stick stuff in the FM. Just saying.
Yep.
That's correct. That is correct. It's like, it'd be great. I mean, we should be able to get our high-end players and stuff that do this, got all the right fleets and stuff. We should be able to complete the FM in one go.
Ross, chime in.
Be able to get everything.
Chime in there, Ross. You've been being kind of quiet.
I don't like the FM in general. I like PvP. I truly, I'm not like everybody. I'm willing to spend a little in repair, but not crazy. I'm happy to hear that. I guess I haven't tried these targets, so I don't really know. I stick with the 112s because I don't. I do it for free on auto, and I'm not into the weekly. It's not really my thing. I don't like it. I never have, and so I don't know really what I don't like the part that it takes forever and it's a grind, and it's the same target over and 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 over. That's so I auto it.
I don't necessarily mind the inclusion of the shards in the target. I wish it was like the blueprints and not shards, because why you need to make something that's limited even more limited by doing it by shards, I'm not sure. But I mean, I think that's a good place for them, because people can dictate at their leisure how far they want to go, if they want them or not, and if they want to get them, as opposed to making it a limited thing that's actually in the FM that you have to redeem. I'm okay with that.
See, myself, I've learned it. I learned a little while back is even prior to the 117s is I don't chase the top targets right when they come out, because they truly do get adjusted too much for me. I like building a fleet once. I would prefer that. So for me to say that I'm going to go out and build a fleet for 120s or 120 runs right now would say to me, I would look at the 7 years and say, no way. I'm not going to tune my fleet yet to a 120 or 121 that I see physically in this game right now, because historically that target will, by the time I have a fleet ready to hit that, it will not be the same target. So I stick with the medium range, and it really works good for me. I tune my hulls. My hulls are truly top end fleets, though, so I hit as low as I can, and that's works for me.
The only thing I don't mind about like tuning my Greta for the 120/121 is my Greta is coming out as an anti countermeasure ship anyway, so it's gonna be pretty much built no matter what they end up doing. It's gonna be built that same way. So It's not like I'm really necessarily tweaking it around the 120 or the 121. I'm just building a freaking countermeasure ship.
No, and then that would make sense because you're making it as best as you can, making it, in no matter what. Anyway, as a counter fleet or a ship.
At the end of the day, any tweaks they do, I might just have to be like, oh, okay, I need one more of this countermeasure and one less of this countermeasure.
Right.
I kind of tuned using the armors and specials for the 121. Like the CMs are the CMs. That I don't know that there's really too much that you can kind of mess with. Because I think that my flag is going to be the basic build is done in terms of the weapon slots. Anything else that I want to tweak is probably going to go on one of the dragons or the other dragon if I stick with just the 2-ship fleet. Because like if I want to put, say, like right now I have a sprint on that one, and I'm not going to put it on the flag because I want I don't want to mess with the countermeasures like that. So, and I don't know how the new one works with the sprints, and I'm just going to kind of keep it simple for now. But I do kind of worry that, because looking at some of the resistances that I pulled on this one, I don't know. I'm really worried that, when it escalates, we're going to either get escalation weapons or the target itself is going to just go bonkers nutty. And I'm not going to like that.
Yeah. And I'm hoping they don't screw with these targets. Just leave them alone. I mean, they're not real bad right now, but, we could all fit our ships to do these targets fairly good. And if they leave them alone and not do a dang thing, everybody should be happy with them.
Just saying. If we hear the phrase, we're tuning these down right now because we know everybody doesn't have the thing. I think collectively we're going to be showing up in San Francisco with baseball bats in hands.
Yeah, we're going to be flipping our shit. We are going to be flipping our shit. But, Daniel, if you're doing it for like an hour and 20 minutes on auto with just the dragons and no flag, that's actually a pretty good indication of, if it's intended, of them actually, pulling their heads out of their asses a little bit, because the 117s, let's face it, were shit.
Yes, they were. Yeah, I mean, I'm yeah. Like I said, that's why I said I like the 120. Like I said, I had never hit a 121 to try that out. I just heard different things about them, and I just really like the 120s.
So, since we're talking about the FM, let's talk about some prices. It was good. I'm glad to see the Inferno Dragon has now been added to the FM. I am very happy and very excited to see that, because that gives all those people who are like grinding it out with little bitty fleets hitting like 89s or even down to whatever the lowest target is over and over and over for all that seat time, they can actually get a beneficial reward that will help them progress in the game now out of the FM.
I agree. If the only thing would be, I would have much preferred to see it in tier 4, because those that don't have it, I mean, that is a long grind. But on the other hand, they do have some targets on the map that they can really grind, and maybe they invest in like 1 or 2 weeks and grind out to get this, and then they're in better shape. I mean, I could see both sides of that one.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen players, believe it or not, put players out there hitting the low-level targets with Punishers with Rippers on them who grind out the points for the tier 5 of the FM every week.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I do too.
So this is definitely for those people. This is going to be a huge payoff for them. So yeah, definitely kudos for doing this.
I think that actually it was the best thing of the week. Truly, when I looked at the overall, all the updates, all the fixes, everything, this is truly the best move, in my opinion, made. And I really want to know because this really helps player advancement in the game, and it was missing.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, it's like I've said for a long time. Like the FM is basically where you should be giving stuff away because if people can't do the FM, they can't do anything else in the game. So kudos for you're not basically giving it away, but you're giving them very easy access if they're willing to put the seat on.
Yeah, they're earning it though. I mean, they're earning it. So yeah. And
then of course to go with it, we have the RFX engine that goes with the Inferno Dragon. So it was good to see that's in there too. That wasn't as essential as the Inferno Dragon, obviously, but it was nice to see it was in there.
Right.
And then we have the new armor. Dan, you want to talk about the new armor, Tom?
Sure. The D5 EV armor provides the cutting-edge evasion and combat speed. It gives you an evade bonus plus 10% and combat speed of plus 7, turn speed of plus 7. Gives you some armor points too. And I mean, I don't know where this is going to be used at right now.
I'll be honest. I looked at it and I said, eh. But I mean,
yeah,
it's filler. It's filler.
It's still kind of heavy though for a filler.
I mean, anybody have any like, oh my gosh, this is good because moments?
No. I mean, no.
No.
The combat speed plus 7, really. I can add a weapon that can do that. So I don't know. I'm not, and evade is plus 10. So the combination is interesting, but no, I don't care about the turn speed, the 3. So it's odd. I just don't maybe something is coming that we just don't know. And that's what I say.
I was kind of wondering if maybe the FM, we're getting it really early. Like, I don't know. It's interesting, but
exactly. It's like, why did they put it in there? It's like, yeah.
And then we have the reinforced ablative armor. Yeah, that's 12% to armor weight, 100 ship deflection, 100 structure deflection, and 66% explosive defense. Tier 7. Okay. I don't know why I would use this over my my regular RA or my regular AA rather. So anybody know why I would use this over AA?
Man, I have no idea.
You get the ship extra 100 ship deflections is really the only difference.
But the thing is your defense on the regular ablative at retro is like 80-something%. I mean, it's going to make up for that 100 deflection on top of it. On top of that, I've like in the 117 at least, I haven't, clearly I haven't had a chance to do the new ones, but in the 117, I was already at minimum damage. I actually took an extra, like one of my test hulls, and I went and put on splash damage reduction, and more structure deflection, and I got absolutely no difference in damage. Like it was the exact same amount each time. So I was already with just resistances at the minimum damage of whatever the hell the projectile was, which then kind of, especially where this thing is, it's tier 7 and da-da-da, and you know what? We kind of need to know what the damages are in some way in these NPC targets, because it was a week wasted shipyard time for me to do the testing. And if I had went, hey, this is great, I can actually pull off killing the turrets, and I'm now going to have the ion thrusters on this. So I'm going to have some splash damage reduction, and I have the special for the 200 deflection. And if I refit, heaven forbid, somebody refits without finding out if it works first, you just blew 4 weeks, a month of shipyard time to get 0 advantage.
Yeah, so, I know me. Anytime I have a question on something, I build one with the one, and another hole with the other, and then I send them both to the same target and see what happens. And then the one that comes out with the most damage, I'm like, that's the way to go then. Or, I mean, that's the way not to go, the one that comes out with the most damage.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, again, with the
Yeah.
build times the way that they are, I just
The
Right.
only place, the
Exactly.
other place I could see where this might be a little bit handy. Remember how when it comes to some flags, sometimes like because of the armor weight increase, you couldn't put like say like Skyfire and the flag for example,
oh yeah.
you couldn't put RA3 on that because it put you way overweight. You could potentially use something like this in that scenario.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and we have I don't even remember what the next thing is. When so like
I don't
I'm
think
like
we.
I'm at Siege, just what we're to Siege with. What are you doing, Garrisons? The FM. I can't even keep these damn things straight. What is the next one?
Skirmish.
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 Yep.
Interesting. And skirmish uses explosive defenses, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
Yep.
Well, that might make a little bit of an interesting decision there.
George, you can talk about the rocket.
Oh fuck! You don't want me to talk about this.
Talk
I've
about
no idea. I have no idea why this fucking thing works as well as it does. This thing works great. I'm not entirely sure because by the numbers, it should work around as good or worse than the one we already had because it has those extra 2 salvos. So if you're at like 0.2 for the reload and then 0.2 for each salvo, I mean, it just kind of works out that DPS wise for over damage, this actually doesn't pull it quite off. I mean, I'm going to do it again because I think I might have missed something because in game it's actually working pretty good. Better than the other one. I'm just not sure. It's supposed to, the base damage is higher with a higher salvo, so the per projectile I think is the same or lower. I can't remember, but then there's no wall or building damage, which is fine because it's supposed to be for against hulls. Now, one of the interesting things is if this actually is working the way it's intended and we're just missing something on this print, or I was really tired and not sober and didn't do my math right, there's some interesting potential for this thing for prep fleet too. So
Right.
it's very interesting. I just wish this is again a good example of like the prints need to be a little bit clearer for players because while it's technically not really overly complicated, they've overcomplicated everything just with the way that they've done things.
Yeah.
And I don't see anything that's sticking out to me screaming, this is better than the other one.
So when I totally agree with all those things you say. So, and that leads me to believe that if this is working, I think when I didn't do the math totally, but I mean basically, and I was thinking that this, and I have seen this effect. I've already put this on my own haul, so I know that if this is causing only over damage, right? Then my other rocket over damage is not working. That's what I mean. That's what I think.
Because of the way that you're seeing this one work, right?
Yes.
Well, I mean,
that could be the case.
Over damage has been like a big point of contention for like the past month anyway, because it seems some days it's working, some days it's not. It's never consistently working the same way twice.
I agree.
And the other thing too is like I would really I'm really curious about some things that we're kind of taken for granted when we're doing these numbers, because when if we actually go with the 0.2 is the actual limit, right, for everything,
right.
It comes out one way. Now, what I have noticed is with rockets in particular, on Huggies, who kind of uses alternative methods of data recovery, we'll use that. It goes under 0.2 in certain instances. And then that leads me to go, well, what's the salvo time as well? Because any change in those numbers changes the calculations immensely. So, yeah, I'm kind of curious. Like, again, these are things that should be player-facing information because we need to make informed decisions.
But the more informed our decisions are, the less money they make on refits. So,
Well, it's either, they make a little bit less money on refits and they get to keep more players, or they just keep on kicking players in the ass.
I'm not saying I disagree with that statement.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
But this is actually a good. It's a nice rocket. Fleet to fleet, it works well. So it really does.
I like the 75%
so far.
flak evasion and the 67% wall evasion. Those are nice.
Yeah.
Like I said, it makes for an interesting concept for a prep fleet.
Oh, of course. It's starting tomorrow. We got VXP weekend. So get your Gretas out there and rank them up. And it'll be the same VXP style that we've had for a while now. So there's not really much to go into on this. If you've done VXP at all the past 3 months, you know what you're looking at.
So what you're saying is the whole player's first mentality of you can't jump out of the targets, you either have to bring in a tank or you're going to eat it. Things like that.
They did say you will not see these changes overnight.
And they're not going to be.
Although I
might not be your.
I guess technically, since he made that post Wednesday and this will be Friday, that would have been over 2 nights, so we should have seen that change. But anyway, I digress.
Logic, nah.
We got the Lions main campaign going on. Ross, you want to give that a go?
Sure. It started the 17th at noon. It runs to the 24th, also at noon PDT time. You must be a level 50 or higher. Its suggested fleet is a legendary rank Skyfire or Phoenix. You earn the Manicore, Roaring Barrel Systems, and Panthera Scatter, and the Savage CIC. So in the first prize pack, you'll pick up the Manicore and a VXP token for the Manicore. The second prize pack, you're going to pick up the Roaring Barrel System, 2 VXP tokens, and 1 day Manicore build token. In the third prize pack, you're going to pick up the Savage CIC, the Panthera Scattergun, and 3 9,500 VXP Manicore ranking tokens, along with 2 one-day build tokens.
For the love of God, stop making me do prize packs where all I'm going to get is a fucking VXP token. Jesus Christ.
Right?
Yeah. We're agreeing on way too much shit tonight, Mike. Fuck.
I know, right?
They need to up them.
I'm sure by the end we'll have something we don't agree on.
But I mean, they need to up the amount you can hold. That's one thing they need to do. Up the amount of tokens we can hold on these. 10. Come on, give me a break.
Right.
I mean, I'll be honest though. I'm probably going to go back and I might go back and do this one just for the 3 days worth of build tokens because I've got a few little tweaks here and there on my Manicores I wouldn't mind doing. I still have like a couple sprints on there that I wouldn't mind switching out for the MDSs. So.
Yeah. Well, I think I can't hold all the tokens they have in there right now.
Okay. Well, perhaps you need to spend some tokens then.
Possibly.
Yeah, Cuddle, shut your mouth, man, because if they see you say that in chat, they'll be like, oh, yeah, you're right. We didn't do that. We need to put that in there. But I think technically the Cheetah was the escalation weapon, the one that gave you the combat speed and whatnot. I think that was really the only actual difference that I saw. But I think that as their escalation weapon.
Yeah, I don't think they actually intended to have escalation weapons this cycle.
Yeah, and I'm glad because I've had to do enough refits on other crap that I didn't need any escalation weapons. That's trying to figure out how to fit them in too.
I mean, let's call it a dirty rumor. They weren't intending to actually have escalation. Now, the one side note, though, is that I don't know if anyone else tested during the last raid, but I did test like combat speed and stuff. And interestingly enough, with the scatter hulls, if you had some really good combat speed add-ons, you took less damage. So there is that.
Oh, that's good to know, actually.
Well, I mean, that does kind of make sense though, because like, especially the scatter version, you're closing in on your target faster, which means you're getting shot at less, which means you're going to take less damage.
Yep. Well, I actually kind of did like an oblique, approach to them. So when their scatter guns fired at me, I was kind of going almost perpendicular to them. Like I was kind of kiting, but not really because I didn't care how close I got. But I wanted the scatter shot to go behind me as I was taking advantage of the speed.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
So if both
so.
of those situations would lead to you taking less damage.
Yeah.
Although it is kind of interesting though, because like, say for example, if somebody's running like a mixed fleet, like with missiles and scatters, it's like using the cheetahs would be totally pointless because obviously you have dark wings and everything's all your speed's gonna get adjusted by those anyway. So, just interesting. But that's all I got for slides. So now we can circle back and talk about the whole.
This is perfect. Okay, this is perfect time I interrupt here. I got a fish on, so I'm gonna jump off and go catch this thing.
Son of a bitch!
I really do. So I'll thank you all, and I'll be back.
Pictures or it didn't happen.
Later.
Dude, he posts pictures of his fish like every other fucking day. So
that's all right. That's a good thing.
That was kind of funny though. Like he got on right as I hit the broadcast button, and now right as we finish slides, he's like, "Okay, I gotta go." So that's kind of funny.
Timing is everything.
Yep. So I don't know. What do you think we're looking at for the future for the next say 2 months?
Oh, I have no idea, honestly. I mean, what I would like them to do personally is just ball up and be like, hey, we fucked up. You guys, we're going to leave, the stuff that you got built right now. We'll give you a month or two to play with it. And, if you want to scrap them, we'll give you X amount of credit for tokens, but we're coming out in 2 months with a whole new PvP concept. We're going to reboot it because.
Oh, wait. Would that be a hard reset of PvP?
Yes, that's.
Who brought this up 3 months ago?
Oh, I know I have.
I brought it up on the forums 3 months ago. Did a huge post, and everybody, lots of people. There was a lot of.
I don't know if a lot of people. Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people understand what a hard reset entails, and I think every time I've brought it up, I always lead with I don't think they have the balls to do it because it is from a company perspective, from a business perspective, it is a massive gamble. And it does take some serious balls to go, yeah, we really fucked up to the point where we're going to just wipe the slate clean because that's going to piss off a lot of people. But it also means that you as a company have got to have something in place that can fall right into place. Not this fucking 7 months before we start seeing some semblance of balance bullshit. It's got to come out of the gate already ready already.
Now, okay, and you and I might have a different version of what hard reset means too. Because when I talk hard reset, I'm talking you will keep the same holes and what you got on them and everything. It's just the values on them are going to change immensely.
No, that's a soft reset. That's an adjustment.
That's a pretty
hard reset.
That's a pretty hard reset, actually.
A hard reset is,
and that counts as a hard reset.
No, hard reset is you wipe the slate clean.
No, that's called.
It might be.
That's called.
No, it might. Well, it might be. It might be because my hard reset is I've coded in the past, and that's how. When we change just the values, that's an adjustment. That's not. It's like a soft reset. A hard reset is absolutely everything goes fucking worthless from this point on, because what this whole tier was supposed to be was a veiled hard reset because it kind of negated all the tier 6 stuff, right? And yeah, it didn't quite work because it would have worked if they could come out and had it balanced or had given us the options of picking what we wanted ahead of time so we knew the path that we were ourselves personally on. Or there were a lot of ways to do it, and they didn't pick any of the good ones. They picked the worst fucking option.
No, I still don't like that whole path thing. I don't like it.
There's no other. That's
putting faith in them to stick to a path for more than a month.
But they would, in order to do that path, they actually would have to have all the stuff already designed and out and tested. That's the catch, and that's why it takes big balls to do any of this.
Well,
kind
the
of
bigger
stuff.
the bigger catch to that though is they can have it all laid out in advance and everything. But the big catch to that though is it going to work the way they laid it out once they put it in the game? And we've proven time and time and time again that no matter how they have it laid out on paper, once it hits the game, that's not the way it happens.
Yeah, because they have no idea what the fuck we do with it in the game. I mean, I can
That
almost
is
guarantee
correct.
you, I'm looking at this Voltron bullshit crap that they have coming out, and every time a new Hulk comes out, and I'm looking at the numbers, and I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at that, and I go, I will bet you money they didn't even fucking try testing this crap with someone running like a sloth fleet. I don't even think they tested any of this shit with someone running a sloth fleet, because holy crap, like I can see what they're trying to do, right? And like I said, on paper, I can absolutely follow it. It's a very slick concept. However, it doesn't work in real world when you put it in players' hands, because we're not going to follow. I mean, shit, it's hard enough for us to follow rules on a day-to-day basis, let alone something that goes, the span of a year for an entire tier set. We're not going to, no. We want to build the shit the way we want to build it and play the way we want to play. And it's not going to conform to anything that they come up with, in the boardroom going, yeah, this is a great concept. Sure, it's a great concept. Practically, it sucks.
Well, and here's something interesting. Like Double Dog in chat just said if they do a hard reset, he thinks that would be game over figuratively and literally. Surprisingly enough, 3 months ago or 2 months ago, whenever it was, when I put this post up on the forums, I put a poll up asking how many players would be willing to take a hard reset if it would bring balance back into PvP. Amazingly enough, like 92% of the people said yes, they would be willing to take a hard reset if it put balance back in.
And I think one of the caveats too is, as a company, if you're going to do a hard reset, and I want to believe that they are sophisticated enough to understand this. If you are going to do a hard reset in a game like this, there has got to be ample compensation for those players that have already invested in the stuff that you are negating.
What
that's
I
why I
would
said
love
if
to
you're
see-
going to...
What I would
Okay.
love to see is, remember how when they did all the changes to the
Phoenix?
installations on warehouses and all that stuff, how like for
Oh, yeah.
do
Mhm.
all your changes for free, they could
Yep.
easily institute something like that for your PvP hulls and for your PvP turrets.
Either that or do the same thing they did with the... was it the Phoenix when they did the missiles or something like that, and they sent out tokens? Or, I mean, there's a couple of ways that they could do it.
I would rather
but-
see them do the free refit thing.
That would be if we actually hold on to the same hulls. I mean, if they go back and just retune the numbers for the deflections, then yeah, maybe. But I don't know that I actually have enough faith in them to actually know how to tune for deflections at this point. I mean, it's not that much more difficult than resistances. It's just that they've got to take into account so many things when doing it for deflections as opposed to resistances that I don't,
Well, and I mean,
historically.
I think even the Voltron thing that I know you like to harp on that whole thing. I think it would have been maybe workable if they had spread out the damage types more and not did we're going to give you all the ballistics or all the missile stuff within like 3 months, and now within 4 months we're going to give you all the ballistic stuff. It's like, no, you should have this month we'll give you a missile thing, next month we'll give you a ballistic, next month we'll give you an explosive, next month we'll give you the radioactive, and they could have gotten so much more life and had to do so much less adjusting on the fly. I think if they had done it that way.
That I agree on that. That would have made things level throughout. Boom, 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 boom. You're not overpowered here, not overpowered there yet. And as your fleets got better, then you're adding on at the end.
That's where I think in that scenario that the big mistake was made. It's like bringing them in bunches as opposed to just even throughout the whole thing. This is where you're supposed to speak up, Jordan, and be like, no, you stupid moron. That's
I don't know. I've gotten to the point now that, yeah, apathy. Anybody? I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
No, and I think what makes it difficult too is that we all have ways that could fix it, and I think all the ways are probably good ways, but you would have to each person's way you would have to take and follow it through the whole way. You couldn't take like part of my way to fix it and add it to part of your way to fix it and add it to like Padre's part way to fix it and have all the different viewpoints combined. I think would be extremely difficult.
Well, and that's why they're the developers and not us. I mean, we can have some ideas and stuff, and at the end of the day, though, those motherfuckers are getting paid to figure this shit out and make a game that we should have fun at. It's not our job, right? I mean, we can advise, we can give our opinion.
Right. They got to take our opinions into account. Yeah.
I do a lot more work on this game than any game I've ever had to play in the past. I'll tell you that.
And
without a doubt.
Yeah, and one of the other catches too is that those devs, it is their job. They have got to understand when they get shit advice, and they just got to toss it. I don't know why. I don't even want to get into that one right now.
And anyway. Not only that, but they have to learn that they have to be able to pick out the good advice and actually have the moxie to listen to it.
If they're gonna, what I would like to see from them is, if they're contemplating something, I would like to see the thought process behind it. Like, I can always explain to like some stupid ass details why I think certain things, and sometimes it has nothing to do with the game and has everything to do with psychology instead. I mean, there are reasons for certain things, but I can actually articulate that shit. And I have seen stuff like on forums or people, throwing out ideas and this and that, and when I start asking questions, they either get mad or they just can't even explain why. It's just a great idea. People would love it. Okay, why? Well, they would. But why? Why? And I mean, it gets to the point where, like, if you're gonna want somebody, especially someone else or a company to follow the advice that you have, you would better be able to follow through to the ultimate on why that would work. Because if not, you're missing something that the player base absolutely will find one way or another, accidentally or purposefully. And that's how great ideas collapse. That's how everything fails, On a side note,
I have to laugh real quick just because Cuddle in chat said they need to hire a mathematician. No, Cuddle, that's what got them into this fucking mess in the first place, is all the mathematicians. Sorry, guys.
I don't know if it's a mathematician that they need or if they just need to, like, if they play the game. I think that is the basic thing. If they start playing the fucking game, like for real playing the game, a lot of the shit will self-correct, because it'll become apparent to those people that are actually designing the fucking game. But that's another story. Yeah, the side note that I was going to say is I just randomly, because I wanted to make sure I wasn't completely out of it last night, for over damage per second, for the old rocket, it's 3,180 over damage per second. For the new one, it's only 3,400. So it's just slightly better. So what I don't understand is, why is it performing significantly better in practice? These are the types of things that just piss me off as a player, why I'm so frustrated with PvP, and why I kind of don't give a shit right now about it. Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I got a question. And any of your guys' bases being hit, have you ever had a thing where you're like watching the hit and your guard ships are not firing at all?
Actually, I had that happen to me. There was a couple things that happened to me. I got hit the other day, and I had a player come in and literally sit all 3 of their MSCs in the middle of my base guard fleet on the outside of the wall inside my channel. They timed out in my base. They were sitting under fire that long, and 2 of the hulls, one of them is designed very specifically to maximize DPS, like overall DPS from over damage, past, or whatever the fuck you want to pick. It's kind of like a, hey, I'm gonna hurt your ass for just coming in here, and it did fucking nothing. And I was looking at it, and I know it was a replay, but I was like, it's not firing. Like, it's sitting right next to it. It's not firing. and I didn't know if it was the replay or not. So it's really interesting that you just said that. I don't know. I haven't asked. Like I haven't. We all just jumped yesterday, last night.
Well, even though it's a replay, what you can do to tell real quick whether it's doing anything or not is just watch the health meter on the fleet that's attacking you.
It wasn't moving.
Yeah.
I mean, at the point where they sat, Mike, they were sitting between sitting between 3 wardens and an onslaught, and then every single turret in my base. There wasn't. I think there was 2 turrets that weren't firing at them. One of them was a vulture, and one was something else that I had on the side for sloths. And I mean, every once in a great while, it would take a lump of damage on one hull from my missiles from one of the executions, and that was it.
I know
5 minutes.
Like they were going through my guard, which I don't care. I'll tell people I have right now. I have an impact cruiser. I have 2 onslaughts. I have a Hope, and I have Omni Behemoth. And on the one onslaught is Chaos Chain Guns. The other one has Panthera Scatter Guns, and the impact cruiser obviously has Chaos Chain Guns. Now, I did not see any ballistic fire off of my impact cruiser whatsoever. I did, however, see 2 little missiles shooting off of it because to work out my deflection values to where I wanted them for my guard, I put 2 of the X missiles on them, and I could see them shooting out fine. But I saw no ballistic shooting out. I saw no scattergun shooting out, and
really?
I could tell by watching the damage on the incoming fleet that it wasn't just a graphical thing.
That's interesting. Because one of the ones that weren't firing were the scatterguns on one of the hulls. Huh.
Now, and what I'm wondering is, remember how they had that thing for a while where guards that were behind a portal weren't firing?
Oh, is it back?
All 3 of those ships are sitting behind a portal.
Interesting. Oh, now I'm curious.
But it was really weird, though, that the missiles were shooting, just not the rest of the weapons.
So that's one thing. I changed my base, so my ships weren't behind a portal no more. So I didn't have that problem anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and this is why it's like I'm exceptionally apathetic right now.
Right. Well, like they said they know there's a lot of bugs in the game that they got to work on first. A lot of things that should have been done a long time ago haven't been done. So, those things I think are going to come first. So we might see a lot more bug fixes by next Tuesday that they're working on.
I mean, look,
I'm hoping,
cynical. Call me cynical. But why did it get to this point? why are they just now going, oh, we have bugs in the game that we have to fix? Well, shit, show. We've been telling you that shit for almost a year.
They're not just getting down to the point they said it. When Aerospecs took over, he said it. When Riken took back over, he said it. And now the new guy is taking over and he's saying it. So that's why I said I'm more interested in seeing the conviction behind the words than the words.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. I'm hoping to see that they did a ton of bug fixes next week instead of these 3 that were not really affecting the game. Just something that everybody knows is happening.
Look, you know what they're going to fix? They're going to fix crap like the Inferno Dragon has that firing and it's oblong instead of round. Who gives a fuck? That is not the kind of shit that I want fixed. Okay. I want to know why my over damage ain't fixing.
You know what they're going to fix? They're going to fix chat. That's what they're going to fix.
They're going to fix what?
They're going to fix chat.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't see that line where they said they were going to do improvements to chat? And I'm like, really? Really? All the things going on in the ROG and somehow chat ends up on your fucking radar?
I mean, hey, using your GPU and having some fancy schmancy graphics added in, I mean, did I need that extra color depth in a Flash game that I'm playing on? Seriously, I would be just fine if we had the old-ass graphics from 2011 in here, as long as it wasn't that crappy ones that we had for a week or weekend, whatever that was.
yeah.
But I mean, I really don't need water lapping on the edges of my channel. I don't need none of that shit. I need the game to fucking work. I need to know when I go in and hit a base that the shit that I've designed is actually going to work as designed because of what I've been told, right? I want my base defense to work as designed. I don't want to go, hey, why is my shit not firing, right? I'm just saying, like, there's got to be, someone has got to go and prioritize this shit instead of just going willy-nilly and pushing shit out because it's on a calendar somewhere. Prioritize this shit. And what I mean by prioritize as well is if you have something in game that's busted, and I mean fucking busted, say scatterguns aren't shooting as from a base defender, right? Say that's the actual case. I want that corrected immediately, like as if though this were a raid and I was able to sit in a corner of a target and not get hit. That's how I want those types of things fixed. Chat can fucking wait. Chat can wait. The clouds looking funky can wait. Layering can wait. The way the firing can wait.
I don't see any problem with chat at all. Is the way it is now, and I really honestly don't want you to touch it because I'm afraid you're going to fuck it up.
I mean, they might mean the international sector chat. For all we know, I mean, we don't know because it was ambiguous and vague.
But like,
we were talking earlier about that. Say they need to just take that out. Period.
Like, if I'm an alpha, I don't want to hear you whining in beta about something. I really don't. If I wanted to hear you whining in beta, I would have jumped to beta.
I could give a shit less about any of it. I want my friggin' shit fixed.
Yeah, I want my shit fixed.
You know, how long? I mean, how long were we telling them the day that those turrets, the executioners came out? Man, these are stacking multiplicatively, not additively, right? Like, I had this whole massive conversation. You guys are sure it's supposed to be additive? Yes. All right, I'm writing this thing. Are you sure it's additive? Yes. It's not acting additively. Well, no, it's tuned for the way that it's acting. No, the math's not going to work out. I mean, we got 2 turrets right now, but I'm just telling you, when you start adding this shit, it's not going to work right. I mean, well, no, we're tuning for the way it's acting in the game. No, because then the numbers that you're putting on these hulls aren't right. I mean, something's not right. And how long did it take them to go, oh, yeah, it should be stacking additively? Well, that's what you fucking said when they first came out. Why did it take you guys 6 months to agree with yourselves?
Oh, but now that we realize that they're stacking multiplicatively and not additively, and we put out all these OP armors to make up for it, now guess what? Now your turrets can't do shit again. How about that?
Surprise! I don't know. I like the older days where like everything would do damage, but then the other question that I have is this, right? If you're going to rebalance this, either soft or hard reset or whatever the hell you want to call it, with the way that we have everything designed now, as much as we slow everything down and the switchbacks and everything, how are they going to tune to account for that as well? Or are they going to come up with something that negates it entirely?
Who knows?
It's gonna be. That's all I had to say. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I mean, these are, you know, when I look at, like, I try and take a really broad view sometimes because you can get caught up in the minutia real quick because we're playing this every day. We are personally invested in this, right? But then, you know, they're like, hey, we want to do this. How is that really going to affect me? Not just in the short term, but how is it going to affect me in the long term? Like, if these guys were actually playing the game, and for example, like that 103 base parts target, right? We have, you know, OP, whatever the hell it is, coming out at the end of the year probably, right? We have all these other turrets that, you know, some people aren't even done putting their turrets up, and they base parts, and we're tweaking bases left and right and this and that. What idiot went, hey, let's make the 103 just a skill hull target, right? Because that pays the most base parts, and we can just leave the Buccaneer to go do like something else. You know, that long term
is that
I could see. Look, I could see.
Wait, I mean, is that a rhetorical question, or do you want an actual answer? Because I can give you an actual answer.
Well, here's the thing. Short term, I could see an argument for it, right? Like, I can see both sides of it kind of generally, but it only works short term. Long term, that was a really short-sighted, dumb fucking move, because there are things coming forward and this target's going to be here for a year. You cannot go, hey, we're going to do this and not think about how it's going to look in 6 or 8 months. You just can't do it. And as a developer, I hold you to a higher standard than what a player like me can come up with in my brain, because that's your job. This is my pastime. It's my fun time. Well, it used to be fun time. I mean, this is a game for me. I don't expect to outthink the developers. I mean, that shouldn't happen. You know, you guys get to write the code. You can decide what's going to be in here. I have to play within those parameters. So, you know, 103.
The one thing makes me have a little bit of a positive outlook, and granted, it's very little bit, but more than I usually would on seeing these posts, is normally it's coming from the bottom, trying to fight their way up through the red tape and the bureaucracy, and that's why shit takes like 7 or 8 months to happen. But this time it seems like it's coming from the top down, and that a lot of that bureaucracy and taking 7 months shit gets cut through really fucking quick then.
Well, and that's one of the,
a little bit of hope.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I said that, you know, it seems like Will doesn't write the stuff unless he's pissed. And when he gets pissed, I mean, he's still, I don't know how many people got to play with him or see like the attitude, and I mean, you want to talk, you want to talk about someone that shit talks, and that's the thing, is that if it's still the same guy and he's pissed enough where he did this, you know, I'm kind of like, in the back of my mind, I'm kind of expecting a quick turnaround, just because he's not a. Yeah, he's a very active pissed off person, right? We'll say that. So I'm kind of like, in the back of my mind, I'm going, ooh, I hope I see something within like a month or two, instead of 3 to 6 months. I have.
I'm just wondering if he got a forum ban, and that's why he didn't post it himself. That's all I'm wondering.
Specs banned him.
Yeah, that was the real reason. God, it's a 60-day suspension or whatever. He banned Will Harvard from the board.
I mean, like, I am cautiously optimistic in the back of my head, but I kind of don't want to acknowledge it for fear of jinxing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, that's where I'm at right now. Because I mean, potentially, depending on how pissed Will is, I would not be surprised if he was really, really pissed off. I would not be surprised to see something within a week or two, because that's just how he rolls. So,
it is. I agree.
So
I mean, the undertaking in itself, though, is so massive. I don't expect a week or two, even if he's really mad.
For PvP, no. But I mean, for some of the smaller things, like the tuning of, say, the FM targets, right? Is it coincidence? Is it, what is it? And I'm really waiting to hear from the company to find out, is this temporary or is this permanent? Is this where it's going to be? Like, these are the types of things I want to see. But then we're going to also look at what else is sitting in the game that hasn't been touched. Like, there are some targets that still after. I mean, well, road crews. You know what? I could again, priorities. I could fucking wait on those. I don't give a shit. Of all things in the game right now, that is not on my top priority list.
I'm not sure why it's not, because it should be up there on the list pretty far.
I've been
asking
compared to PvP balance.
The reason it's not is because these targets shouldn't be tuned for road crews anyway, so that shouldn't be high.
Right.
I mean, the thing is, if I'm looking at, do I want PvP balance? Do I want PvE brought back in line to acceptability, or do I want the road crews to get fixed? Fuck the road crews.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Right. We want everything else. Yeah, we want all that fixed. Yes. I mean, that's everything put back into balance the way it should be, for it's acceptable for everybody. Well, it won't be acceptable for everybody. That's just the name of the game. But if it's reasonable, everything's reasonable, and the targets remain the same, and they don't change them and stuff like they were. Oh, we got to put more damage in these. They weren't right, or take we don't want to see that stuff. When it comes out, it
Um,
has to be right the first time.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you the very first test where I'm gonna hold them in my own mind, their feet to the fire, is gonna be the next raid. If the next raid comes out and the damage is similar to what we saw this last month,
Oh yeah.
are good. It's gonna be a it's gonna be a fail, huge, massive fail, because it's gonna be a tech raid. We're gonna need hundreds of millions of points. And if I have to grind my ass through these fucking shit ass targets and drive every fucking one of them and still take that much damage, fuck that. That's going to be their very, very first test. And I don't know if anyone in their mind has acknowledged that yet, but I can guarantee you, of all the stuff that's going on, the player base is going to have the first visceral reaction to that raid.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because
Now,
it's
Next raid.
a month away.
In my head, it would be more the first raid of the skirmish block, because then at that point it'll be brand new targets and nothing will have been predetermined by what they've already done. So to me, that would be more of the litmus test.
But Mike, here's the thing, and you said it yourself. Your actions speak louder than words. They've come out and they've said all of this stuff. They have a month before the next raid. Everyone hated the damage levels in this raid and this entire raid set. The auto haul doesn't work. If you're going to start somewhere for some goodwill with the players and actually show us that you want to actually do this shit and you're not talking out your ass or blowing smoke up my ass, that's the very first place I want to see some sort of movement.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, knowing them and knowing the way things work and that level, I'm more looking to probably see it the raid after that.
I mean, and you know what? And that could
pleasantly surprised if we see it the next raid.
But see, I'm not willing to give them that much leeway, because they've come out, they've acknowledged it. This has been an ongoing issue. Again, you have a month. I want to see some conviction. Because if I go, hey, you know what, if I justify it or come up and make excuses for it, or I'm not gonna come up with excuses for them. It's a company. They're big boys and girls. They can pull up their big boy and girl panties and go, hey, you know what? It's a month before the next raid. Let's fix this shit for them so they enjoy the raid at least. And that'll give us a little bit of breathing room and go forward with that. They have a month. They haven't come up with the targets yet. They haven't come up with the tuning yet. All of this shit is still on the table. Why not do what you said right now? Show me that you are actually legitimately wanting to put players first. Because if I'm going to wait for the new cycle, fuck that. I'm not going to be happy. That's 2 months away. And again,
my question is too, when they say players first, my question is, what players?
That's a good question.
What players are you focusing on? What players are you putting first? Because that's always been one of the big problems, is there's always that certain group of players that gets put first before the rest of the players.
Yep. And that's why I always say fun first. That will cover everything. If the game's fun, you're going to want to play, and they're going to want to spend, and you're going to make money.
I mean, there are times, though, that I don't envy their position, too, because, you got all these people that you can't make them all happy. There's no way you can make them all happy. What's fun for you is not necessarily fun for me.
Right.
So there are times I don't envy their position at all. I'm trying to balance all this stuff.
And we'll see. And I think that's the catch, is that right now there is a massive imbalance throughout the entirety of the game. If the game were balanced, even if you didn't make everybody happy, at least the game would be in a balanced place, so they could pick and choose what they wanted to do in the game, and it would all be balanced, right? Like you would be able to go and enjoy and have fun in any aspect that you chose. Right now, nothing's fucking balanced, right?
No, I really get the feeling too that they don't understand how much that crappy PvE affects people doing PvP. Because that was one of the things I said on the survey that they just had us fill out. At the very end, I said, at the end of the day, when you got me taking this much damage for my FM, you got me taking this much damage in TLCs, this much damage in base parts targets, this much damage in titanium targets. I'm like, I look and I see all this 15 hours worth of repairs in my dock. The last thing I'm going to fucking want to do is be like, oh, let's go hit a couple bases and add a couple more hours repair on that. There's a big influence there on how much damage I take in PvE reflects how much I'm going to participate in PvP.
Yep.
And I'm much more willing to coin during PvP because I'll be doing something that I'm having fun with, and I'm not going to coin in PvE because you're forcing me to do shit that I don't even want to do in the first place.
Yeah.
So
then,
keep that in
no,
mind
you
when
have
you're
to-
doing all
you
these
still-
changes.
Yeah, but the thing is too, you still have to kind of make sure that you cover the broad strokes so everyone can have some fun too. But the PvE comes back to again the balance thing. Like if I want to go in and do like say uranium, like that got jacked. It used to be really really simple, and instead of making it like a progressive thing, it went from really simple to fucking a pain in the ass. Like there was no in between.
Yep.
Yeah, there's
base
no
parts.
transition period. No transition period.
Well, it's not even the transition period. I mean, if you're gonna go and put these things to the map, first off, you guys they said that they were gonna tune the map, tune the targets for when they go on the map. They're supposed to get tuned down because let's face it, the repair times on our shit is outrageous, and I can guarantee you that is in the game for money first and not players first because that's tuned for what they want to see for damage in the raid. It's got to be. Otherwise, why in the hell would you have a fleet that takes... I mean, how much does it take to repair a Manticore fleet now? From dead?
I mean, here's something I often wonder too, and I'm not trying to be an apologist for him because that's the last thing I am. But I do often wonder how did they really foresee people sitting down and playing the game for hours upon hours at a time, or did they just assume it was going to be like any other Facebook? You sit down, you play for like 30 minutes, an hour, and then you go on about the rest of your life,
I think initially when the game came out, they were thinking it was just going to be another Flash game, just a little bit more hardcore, right? And because you got to think some of the stuff didn't come out like, we didn't have salvages originally. We didn't have things like the Seawolf and stuff. As it progressed and they saw how players were actually interacting with the game, they kind of went with it. And that was back when they actually were doing builds for fun. Like they were doing things in the game to promote the fun aspects of the game that they were seeing players do. At some point, it went from that to watching metrics. And this is this, and this is that, and we have this much distribution, we have this many participants, and
oh, I can tell you when that happened. Reaver hulls. That's when that happened.
I think I might have been a little bit before that.
Reaver hulls is definitely when it became about money first, because that's when you started seeing the huge repair.
That was egregious. Yeah, that was egregious. Well, the repair times now, I don't think that their intent is like to add like those massive amounts of build times. I think what it is they're trying to tune for what they want to see in each target or set or whatever in the raid, which I can kind of understand because it's half repair time, right? And it might not be exactly forthright and transparent, but the problem is when all this shit goes to the map, we don't have half repair time anymore. It's regular repair time, and if those targets are still doing that kind of damage, we have issues, right? Because now they've tuned those hulls to have such amounts of armor and take X amount of damage that it's kind of skewed the times. So when you do something like the 103, yes, I am going to absolutely crap about that 103 because I think it's asinine and it pisses me off. When you do something like the 103 and it's a base part target, this is now a resource that you have to have in game if you want to keep up, right? We'll use the old keep up. I got to be able to keep up in the game, right? You just blocked out everybody that has the Buccaneers or that relied on the Buccaneers from easily, or quote unquote easily, at least having access to large amounts of base parts so they could get it done, get their chores done, and do something else. So now you're relegating them to grind more.
But no,
right?
it'll be okay because expeditions will save us.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Speaking
I have a chameleon.
I just scrapped my chameleons the other day.
Did you? I still use mine. I still use mine.
No, I scrapped mine. I needed res, and I was too lazy to go out and hit them up, get some on the map. I was just like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to scrap my chameleons.
One of the things I'm really pissed off about that build is I had an original build, I had build A, and I had this whole concept, and I was like, this is going to be actually really interesting because I looked at the target, and I was like, I can kind of use this mechanic and this and this. The problem was it took so long to rank those things. I ended up going, okay, this isn't really working the way I had intended or expected. So I started refitting the motherfuckers. Now that they're ranked, they're actually doing what I initially wanted them to do, but I've taken the specials off that maximize what I had designed originally. And I'm pissed about that. And I'm not touching these things. Like, I refuse to refit them again because I don't have tokens. And this is like the kind of thing that happens in the game. It's like the chameleons came out, and what about them? Like, we haven't really heard anything about them anymore after that, you know? And now we have fucking proto hulls. Like, what the fuck? Why do I have proto hulls? Why is there a TLC that came out like, what, a week or two after the Proto Centurion came out, and you needed that motherfucker to run them?
Yep.
What the hell was that about? There is no way in hell I want to see any fucking content other than the SSRBs tuned to those proto hulls. None at all. I don't want to see them in fucking TLCs. I don't want to see them on fucking map targets. I don't want to see them in the next fucking raid. If they do better than the other stuff, awesome. Because you know what? They were optional, and the people that invested in them, they get to have a little bonus. Like the Katie's was supposed to be. They get to have a little bonus. So you know what? Yeah, maybe some of your biggest players have them. They get to have a little something special. But if you fucking tune that shit and it affects everyone else in the game, especially the ones that don't have the stuff, I have a problem with that. And that's not selfish. I can tell you right now, I have both of the fleets. So I'm just saying this from just a general, overall, broad view look at it. I don't give a shit because I have the damn hulls. I have them built. I could give a fuck less. I'll be able to take advantage of it one way or another. But it's gonna fuck a lot of players one way, and it's gonna just screw Kixeye a little bit the other way. So you know what? Take it on the.
What I want to see is the new skirmish fleet that comes out in the next raid that we're supposed to use for the next cycle. I want to see it be extremely close to the prototype. That way, you have an either or situation. If you built the prototypes and you have them done, you can actually use them in the upcoming raid just as successfully. Not better, not worse, just as successfully as for somebody who's going to get the new hull and build that.
I bet you that won't happen because I don't know if they'll be able to tune it that way, but maybe close. But then again, it's only going to be good in the A set anyway, so you're not going to use them in the S set. I mean, you know that's going to be locked out.
Well, I mean, we could think that. We don't know it for sure because obviously we don't know anything right now. It all depends on how much conviction is behind this player's first shit.
Yeah, if I were a betting man, I'm just saying.
But anyway, I think we're going to call it here for the night. We've been on for like a good hour and 45 minutes now. So,
you talkative motherfucker.
But hey, guys, thanks for coming out. Thanks for those of you who stuck with us the whole time. We appreciate it. I know George and I can really get going sometimes. So,
but thanks when there's alcohol involved.
Yeah, right. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for watching. And give us a thumbs up and a like and subscribe and share us with your friends. And until next time, we're out. Later.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.